Good afternoon. Just wait for some people to join. Just give it a couple more seconds and let some more people join. If you guys want to start firing away questions in the comments box, and then we'll get started. Another 30 seconds. So I am Carla. I am a paediatric sleep consultant. My company is called Snooze Talks. So what I do is I help lots of mums and dads that are having baby toddler sleep issues. So today's session is a half-hour session where you can just type away questions and I'll try and get through as many as I can during the session. So yeah, to kick off, I've had some through on Instagram. So I'll start off with these ones. So first question was best routine for 4 months. It says doesn't nap and cot with dark room and white noise. I wonder if she's meaning does nap and cot with dark room and white noise. But best routine for a 4-month-old. So at 4 months, it's hard to have them on the exact time set schedule. You're better doing wake times. So you're looking at roughly 2-hour wake times at 4 months, across 3 to 4 naps, depending on how long their naps are. So for instance, you're wanting, if you're on a 3-nap schedule, you probably have like a 1.5 hour nap in the morning, lunchtime nap being about 1.5, 2 hours, and then a 45-minute nap, a half an hour, depending on how long the first 2 naps were, and just a cat nap in the afternoon. If you're on four naps because they're not long enough, the naps yet, that's totally fine. You might just have an hour's nap, then another hour's nap, for instance, and a 45-minute nap, for instance. It's not going to be exact. And then just that last nap of the day, just being a short half-hour cat nap. You want to max their day sleep of about 4 hours. So that's how at 4 months you can be in a bit of a routine. What was the other question? Another question came through. 7 months scratches his head a lot when tired, makes it difficult to let him fall asleep independently. Any tips? First thing I would try and do is to prevent getting to that point where he's probably overtired. So just make sure at 7 months you're getting him the right sleep and putting him down at the right time before he gets that. You might be using it as a soothing thing. So what I would suggest is you try and give him something like it's a good age to introduce a comforter. So he's got that in his hands instead. But just make sure he's getting the right amount of sleep, roughly about 3.5 hours sleep in the day. Just be mindful of his wake time, so about 2 hours 45 in the day. Yeah, that just, and also maybe cut his nails really short so he doesn't hurt himself. And here a question, my baby's just coming up to 3 months old. She only wakes once at 3:30. Should I try to encourage her to sleep through the night? Also, should you change a nappy? 3 months old, that's amazing. She's only waking once. So I would just, if she's waking and she could still be hungry, so I would leave it. You're doing really well. So I'd say just carry on doing what you're doing. Should you change a nappy? Unless it's soiled, nappies can hold wetness for 12 hours. So if it's just wet then and it's not leaking, then I'd absolutely just leave it, because if you start unnecessarily picking her up and changing her, you're going to wake her up a little bit too much. So yeah, unless it's soiled or it's leaking, just leave her to it. Well done. One that I wake up in the night is absolutely fine. Great. Any other questions? No problem. Come on, guys. So Jade, nearly 4 months old and sleeping 12 to 13 hours, but now wakes once in the night. I'd need to know, does your little one know how to self-settle, and what are you doing when they wake? 4 months, their sleep can be disturbed. They go through that change, we call it the sleep regression. Their sleep cycles develop. if it's just one wake up, just it's if you're teaching your child to fall asleep independently, it's how you respond in the middle of the night. May still need a feed in the night, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. But just how you're responding in the night as well, and how you're putting them down to bed is key here. And just make sure that, as I said in that routine that I said for a 4-month-old, just make sure that you're giving her the right amount of sleep, so no more than 4 hours sleep in a day. Lucy, my baby and I have been co-sleeping, as in the early days it meant I could get some at least some sleep. He's now 5 months old. What would be the most effective way of getting him into his own crib, please? So I do something really gentle. Do something where you do, if you're wanting to start teaching him to settle on his own. So it's just going to take practice. So stay by the side of the cot, offer him comfort when he's upset. If you need to pick him up, pick him up. But the more you can practice having him in the cot, the better. And it's just going to take practice. There's lots of gentle settling techniques you can use. I can't go specific step by step of how you do it, but if you Google it, or if you want to get in touch and we can work together. But yeah, it's just takes practice and responding to him, and do it really gently, especially if he's used to co-sleeping. What's the kindest way to wake your baby when her nap's getting a bit long? I bet parents are really jealous, Naomi, that your child's naps are getting long. I personally like to do it that you make them think they've woken themselves up. So that's like making a noise outside their room. So whether that's making you knocking on the door next to the room, or whether that's doing a pretend sneeze or anything like that, that was going to kind of wake them, and they'll think that they've woken themselves up. I think I always use that. Jade, she doesn't self-settle, and we change her napping give bottle when she does wake. Very rarely, just putting her white noise on and she goes back to sleep. Also, she won't nap in her cot in a day. Will sleep either on me or in my bed. Okay, so the first thing you can do is start teaching her to self-settle, because that could potentially, if it's a case of that, because she doesn't know how to get her back to sleep, she's waking in the night, and she's whatever you've done to get her to sleep, which I'm assuming is feeding her to sleep. Yeah, so she'll expect that when she wakes in the night. But if you could start teaching her independent sleep skills and self-settling, she'll start going back to sleep herself. And she's 4 months, did you say? Did you say? Yeah, nearly 4 months. So yeah, 4 months is a good age to start teaching her. Use some really gentle approaches, and that should hopefully, if it's not hunger, then she should stop doing that. As long as you've got her on the right schedule for 4 months for her age, and teaching her to fall asleep herself, that should stop that wake up. Any other questions, guys? Get typing. Whilst I'm just waiting, I'll just tell you about. So I'm doing a workshop on Saturday morning, 10:30, which with Let's Talk Birth and Baby. If your child's 4 months plus, it's £15 tickets, and we go through everything from teaching self-settling, from routine, what to do with wake ups, etc. If you want to join, just go on the Let's Talk Birth and Baby website. It's in an hour and a half session, so we go through 45 minutes of me talking at you, and then we'll do a Q&A at the end for any questions about what we've spoken about. But you should feel after that you can put something in place to teach them to self-settle and get them in a really good age-appropriate routine. Any other questions? Gosh, everyone's very quiet today. This is as quiet as you guys have been. Here we go. So my granddaughter is 2 years old and she wakes up at 3 in the morning and won't go back to sleep. I need to know a little bit more about her day routine. Is she still napping and how long is she getting and what time's her nap at lunchtime? Ideally, you're looking for a nap starting around 12-ish, 12:30. Every child's sleep needs are slightly different, so they will either need an hour and a half, 2 hours. Some will have need slightly less. Two, when they start getting two, they can start it might start feeling like they're not needing the nap in the day, but just keep offering it to them because if they don't have a nap, I'd highly recommend giving them a very early bedtime. So aim for like a 6:30 bedtime if they don't have a nap. If they have a nap, then you're looking more like a 7:30 bedtime. And it's how you respond at night. I need to know more about what you're doing, what your granddaughter, what you're doing when she does wake, how you're responding to your granddaughter, because it's a kind of it's learning to that she needs to go back to sleep and put herself back to sleep. So does she know how to fall asleep herself, etc. So if you want to type in more of the detail, the questions that I just asked, I'll happily answer for you. Okay, so she has one nap for at 1 for 1 hour. So I bring that so because she's starting her nap at 1, it's it's quite late in the day. I'd shift it a bit earlier. So then and then bring bedtime slightly earlier as well. Um so I do 12:30 to 1:30 nap. If she wants a little bit longer, you can. And then just do a 7:30 bed. Try that. And does she know how to fall asleep by herself? Is she being assisted in any way? Because if she's being assisted, she'll expect that when she wakes in the night. 8:30 might just be a little bit late a bedtime, depending on what time she starts her day in the morning. So the day might be too long. Okay, so she wakes up for her bottle, then I take it out of her, but she won't go back to sleep. When I put it down at 8:30, she goes to sleep herself. Um, okay, so because you're offering her a bottle at that time, she's going to keep waking up. At 2 years old, she doesn't need a bottle. She's using that to try and go back to sleep. So I would just stop giving her the bottle and use a sort of sleep training approach to just make sure that she goes back to sleep. It might be a few rough nights of doing it, but you should be able to. But you can do something where you're in the room and do something more of a like gradual retreat where you stay in the room and get out of the room eventually if she doesn't like it when she wakes up and being on her own. And just teach her to go back to sleep without the bottle because once you can eliminate the bottle, then that'll be much better. She'll just put herself back to sleep. It's not a bad idea to have like a comforter of some sort as well, so that she can use that as comfort as well, instead of relying on you. I don't deal with adult sleep, so I can't comment on that, Iram. Um, I would speak to someone medically trained, a doctor, to help with that. Yeah, there'll be sleep specialists for adults that can help you with something like that. Yeah, Michelle, just one more thing. Don't offer the bottle. I'd say no more bottle in the middle of the night is the best way that you're going to find that you'll stop that wake up. And if don't let her use the bottle to fall asleep at night time, at bedtime, you just use a self-settling approach that she starts putting herself to sleep for all night. Any other questions, guys? In all the time I've done this, this is the quietest it's been with questions. No problem, Michelle. Sophia, my little boy is 5 months old. I'm exclusively breastfeeding. He wakes up at night every 2 to 3 hours. I give him food and put him down, but he wakes up after 2, 3 minutes again. It's exhausting. He also wakes around 4 a.m. and stays awake for 1 to 2 hours. So, a few things that you need to do is make sure he's on the right appropriate routine. So at 5 months, you're looking at maximum day sleep about 3.5 hours to 4 hours maximum across 3 naps. Um, Wake times, you're looking at approximately 2 hours 15. And so that's in between each sleep, every nap, and between to bed, 2 hours 15 wake windows. That one in the morning might be between waking up and first nap might be slightly shorter. So that's you kind of want to have a set schedule based on those wake times roughly. Second of all, you need to start teaching him. So you said you give him food every wake up. So first of all, get it clear by the doctor that he doesn't need fed as much as that. And if the doctor's like he's a healthy weight, etc., try and reduce the night feedings. So kind of work to the basis that he may only need 1 or 2 night feeds. So all the rest of the wake ups are probably comfort wake ups. So you need to use a settling approach and try and teach him to self-settle without a feed. So there's loads of different settling techniques. You need to find one that you're comfortable using. Because he yeah, I would say because he's so used to just being fed all the time, I would do one where you're in the room, a really gentle one. Um, so have a look online if you or if you want to get in touch and I can talk we can have a session and I can talk you through how to teach him. But yeah, ultimately it comes down to teaching him to fall asleep himself, so that when he wakes up he doesn't expect to be fed to go back to sleep, because whatever you do at the beginning of how you get him to sleep is when he wakes after cycle, he'll expect it to get back to sleep to move on to the next cycle. So it's all about independent sleep skills. 5 months is a really good age to do it as well. No? Are we all done? Or is there going to be any other questions? Okay, give it another minute. No other questions, we'll end it there. No? Okay, well, I think I might leave it there. So you can join me if you want to ask any questions. Next week I'll be on Instagram answering questions, and then the following week I'll be back on here on Facebook Live. So feel free to oh, hold on, we've got another bit followed up. We have a bed routine when I put him down around 7. Should I put him down later to extend night sleep? No, absolutely not. 7 o'clock is a really good bedtime. It just depends on what time. So you want roughly, because he's 5 months old, you're roughly looking at 2 hour 15 wake time between, so from his last nap to bedtime. So always just make sure that whenever he finishes his last nap, then bedtime is 2 hours 15. The last nap can be the last wake time can be slightly longer. So if you had to do 2 hours 30, that's absolutely fine. So just kind of work bedtime based on that. But 7 is absolutely, you shouldn't need to do a later bedtime. A later bedtime won't mean that he'll sleep in later. He'll probably just be overtired. So 7 o'clock's fine, just depending how the rest of the naps go in the day. And talking about bed routine, try and not make a bed routine last longer than 30 to 45 minutes. Sometimes bed routines can go on too long, so they could be over an hour. And that just, you get a second wind and they can get overexcited, overstimulated, and sometimes overtired. So try and keep it to a minimum of 30, 45 minutes. And that means just 5-10 minutes in the bath, not a half an hour bath. And then just a really nice wind down that you do the same every night. Come on, guys, ask me questions. We've got 5 minutes left. Right, I think we shall leave it there. Thanks for guys that have joined. And join me in a couple, not next week because I'm on Instagram, but Facebook the following week, and I'll be able to answer more of your questions. Enjoy the rest of the week and have a lovely weekend, guys. Bye.